With a soft crunch, Frederick's feet touch solid ground again. Just in case he is too much to support for the unknown floor, he gradually lets go of the rope and carefully shifts his weight more and more down on the ground below. His full weight on the ground, he takes a cautious step forward, still holding onto the rope, as the probably ancient structure creaks and strains around him. Confident that they should be fine for now, he looks at Bubbles on his shoulder. I think we're good. His words carry a long echo down the dark corridor as he nods his head away from his fluffy friend, motioning for them to get off. Bubbles suddenly hops down on the ground, turns around to face him and bark purrs friendly. Glad you're over with it, huh? He scratches the chest of their chitinous arm on top of their head, much to their delight. They lean fully into his hand, eyes closed, and make their signature bubbling sound. While absentmindedly comforting his companion, he looks around and uses his glow stick to illuminate his immediate surroundings. Where are we, though? The echo of his voice fills the room, creating an ominous atmosphere. As he takes a look at his surroundings, he realizes that he is currently standing on a rocky surface, rather than the structure's typical metal floors. Well, seems like we've hit the end of it. While looking at Bubbles, he incidentally notes that his breath is no longer visible. See? A series of screeching sounds erupt in the distance behind him, definitely louder than the set they heard before. He quickly turns to the source of the ominous sounds. Bubbles also moves around him to get a better look at the darkness in front of them, clearly anxious about what is waiting out there. Stay behind me, he whispers to them, as he starts moving. Trying his best to be as quiet as possible in his rugged boots, he takes slow, careful steps as he sneaks into the darkness ahead. As he presses forward, he is left alone with his thoughts again, and a rather unexpected one eventually crosses his mind. He is not nervous. Normally he would be extremely nervous in the face of a situation like this, but against even his own expectations, he is almost worryingly calm right now. But why is that? As he ponders this question, the sounds of a few small rocks hitting the rocky ground emanate from ahead, making him quickly dismiss the thought and shift his attention back to the darkness ahead of him. Did you hear that? He asks, trying to make out anything in the dim orange light of his glow stick. Suddenly, a loud screech fills the room, and something lunges at him, taking him completely by surprise. It feels like a blanket is being tightly pressed against the side of his torso in a rather unpleasant way. What the fuck? He cries out. The thing slurps and suckles as it clings to him, grossing him out even further. Get off me! Bubbles immediately rushes to his aid and lets out a monstrous cry as they jump at the thing. Right then and there, another one wraps itself around his left leg. What is happening? He shouts. He desperately claws at his side, trying to grab the first scream monstrosity. After many failed attempts in his confused frenzy, he finally somehow manages to grab a disgustingly smooth and fleshy piece of creature and yanks it away from his body. Apparently that beast is nowhere near as strong as him, resulting in the nasty little bugger being ripped from his body and finally thrown against the wall next to him. Thud! The wet sound of his impact makes Frederick's skin crawl. Ugh, what the hell are those things? He shouts, angry, disgusted, and confused. Bubbles rushes over to where it hit the ground and starts violently mauling the screeching creature. Now that the first one is off of him, he starts punching the second one that's currently clasping his leg in a fear-fueled rage, and a sudden tiny sting in his left leg makes him double his efforts. He is beating the crap out of that thing, not stopping his assault until it lets go of him, each and every hit accompanied by agitated screeching of the creature. After landing a few good hits, the creature screams in the thumbs of his fist, as they replaced by cracking and crunching sounds, accompanied by gurgling screeches, and the pressure on his leg finally subsides. He swiftly kicks the limp beast far, far away from him, deep into the darkness ahead, and immediately rushes over to help his companion in their fight. Quickly arriving at their side, he notices that Bubbles is actually winning, easily at that. Their screaming opponent is covered in deep, bloody scratches, and pathetically flails around on his back. In his attempt to protect them from any unnecessary harm, he somewhat gently pushes Bubbles away from the creature with his leg, like a rampant dog. Keeping Bubbles at bay with his leg, he grabs his axe from his back and strikes the screaming mass of flesh that lies on the ground in front of him. The axe head impacts the creature with a dull squelching sound, immediately stopping its frenzied cries as it goes limp. Bubbles still strains and fights against his leg, trying to eviscerate their attacker, but Frederick already knows that this is, at least for now, over. He drops his axe and tries to calm his friend. Come on, it's okay. It's okay, he's dead, alright? He tells with a soft voice. They keep struggling for a moment, but eventually stop their efforts. It's okay, you did great, he encourages them. Bubbles suddenly jumps up at his chest and affectionately rubs their head against the side of his neck, sounding quite distressed. Don't worry, he says, with a calming voice. Ignoring the mild pain Bubbles' chitinous armor causes him, as it rubs against the comparatively very soft skin of his neck. He comforts them this way for quite some time, before they finally let go of him, and begin to carefully inspect the dead creature. Wait. They turn around and look at him expectantly. You okay? He inquires. Bubbles bark purrs once, giving him the impression that they are uninjured. Well, that's good to hear. Alright, let's see what the hell those things are, he says to himself. Both of them carefully approach the hopefully dead critter, still keeping their guard up. He holds his glow stick out in front and recoils in disgust as he spots its body. Phew! That thing looks like someone took one of those spider-like crab giants from the ocean floor, but gave it only 3 legs and put batwing-like membranes between them instead, with a circular mouth in the centre to top it all off. It is completely covered in smooth flesh that is eerily close to the skin in a person's mouth. The thing looks like it was born out of a cruel joke. Ugh, why are they ugly? He thinks out loud. He carefully nudges the screecher with his axe, but it doesn't react. It simply lies limp on the ground, completely lifeless. Of all the weird shit that happened lately, this one takes the cake. Frederick throws the axe over his shoulder again and looks to Bubbles. The aggressiveness had really surprised him just now. He knew in the back of his mind that they were a deadly apex predator, but the speed with which they switched from happy floof to murderous killing machine surprised and shocked him. Like flipping a goddamn switch. You were kind of scary back there, not gonna lie, he tells them, as he keeps prodding the dead alien. Bubbles sits down next to him and looks him deep in the eyes. Once again he can feel that odd and familiar sense of looking at someone and wordlessly understanding each other, but this is more intense than before. He is not sure what it is, but this time it really feels like he can directly feel their emotions, their connection to each other. It's hard to put into words for him, but he can feel that they're happy, but also scared. Wow. He takes a moment to process what just happened. I guess you're back to wholesome, fluffy friend then. He looks down at them, somewhat perplexed. He scratches the back of his head. Their ability to almost instantly change from one emotional state to another is going to take a lot of getting used to for him. Are you really alright? Bruh, they say enthusiastically, sounding a bit like a chattering house cat. Okay, he asks, very confused. Did they just try to talk? What the... You wanna, He just starts blindly guessing. Get back up? They nod in response. Oh really? Alright, let's get going then, he says enthusiastically. Kneeling down, he shows them his back and waits for them to get on. As they step up and place their forelegs on his back, he gently lifts Bubbles up and rests them on his shoulders. Comfortable? Good. Let's just hope there aren't any more of those ahead. With his interesting, increasingly complex and sometimes difficult to understand companion resting on his shoulders once again, he trudges on, desperately trying to see in the dim orange light of his glow stick. For some reason, as the pair wordlessly delve deeper into the darkness, after a while he slowly begins to feel happy and an inexplicable urge to express it. Without thinking, he eventually just speaks up. You did well back there, by the way. He has difficulty putting his thoughts into words right now, and he has to pause for a moment. It feels completely weird. I'm happy to have you on my side. You can stand up and fight with me like that, he tells them. To try and protect me like that, he adds in a low mumble. So many different emotions are suddenly bubbling up from deep inside of him. God, why is this happening right now? He thinks out loud. Bubbles also starts to slowly shift in his shoulders as he tries to form his next sentence. I guess I just wanted to say thanks, he chucks dryly, trying to repress his unexpected embarrassing feelings. All of a sudden, he can feel Bubbles' head leaning against his own and gently rubbing against his cheek while letting out a faint and soft bubbling sound, ever so careful not to scratch him. And the head feels so warm and soft, but their smelly breath also quickly fills his nose. Not that he actually cares right now, though. He swallows the big chunk that is forming his throat. Goddamn softy, he jokes with teary eyes, giving them a little friendly smooch on the side of the face. After walking like this for a while, him petting their head every now and then, he starts feeling a lot better than before. Thank you, he tells them, genuinely thankful for their companionship. They look him in the eyes for a moment before nuzzling his neck again, although he could swear they just gave him a smile. After lying motionless on the metal floor of the ventilation shaft and listening to the sounds of the hunt outside for a while, Kyrie slowly begins to rise from her lying position. She gnashes her teeth as she strains her aching muscles. Stars above, she groans as she sits up. She rummages through her pockets and takes out her clunky old communicator. While she remains seated, she navigates to her contacts and calls someone. Hello? A deep but soft and friendly voice greets her, distorted by the cheap speakers. Hello, Noir. she greets him dejectedly. Ree, you sound troubled. His tone was cheerful at first, but then turned concerned. Did something happen on that job? No, yes, she admits. I am technically done with the job, but I ran into some trouble immediately afterwards. While talking to him, she slowly gets up again. Oh. They sound genuinely concerned, or at least as much as their generally monotonous speech allows them to. It's actually a bit serious, to be honest. I might have ran into a group of Vorkadanti. She tries to play it down. Stars above. It takes him a moment to collect himself. Are you in danger? Do you need help? Where are you? He asks, extremely concerned. I could still be in danger overall, but I'm at least safer now. She tries to calm him, as she casually rearranges her clothes and smooths down a few messy patches of fur. I'm in the ventilation system right now, trying to use it to get near Chewbacca's base without being seen. Could you pick me up there? She starts silently walking down the ventilation shaft. Of course. I was already on my way towards the Kir, so I'm pretty close anyways. Thank you, you're a real shooting star. Don't worry about those puppies. I'll meet you there, he reassures her. See you soon. See you soon, Ree. She ends the call. Knowing that Kroganar is coming to pick her up is a huge relief. With him by her side, these chits won't be quite as brave as they were before. But now the main issue is actually getting to Jabask's.